It is almost Thanksgiving, end of November in New England. And that means the weather is getting cold. So let's do a video on how to get the car comfortable, warmed up, not the battery, but the interior for driving. So there are many ways to do it. There are almost too many ways. Let's start with the easiest one. If you want to get the car warmed up before you start driving, use the CarNet app. That is the easiest, obviously. Log into CarNet, pick your car, and then just slide this switch to on. And then it will send a command to the car via the internet, and the car will be nice and warm to this particular temperature. In this case, I have 70 set when you get into the car. The other way, of course, is with direct control with the buttons. So in a regular car, there will be a knob, ideally, that lets you just switch the temperature. Temperature is here, and also the seat warmer. In the ID4, unfortunately, it's a touch control. So you just tap to lower, tap to raise it up. But these are touch controls, and they're not lit at night, so it is hard to use at night. As for the seat warmer, the displays are here, so you would think if you click on this, the seat warmer will turn on. Instead, when you click on that area, let's do it again. When you touch this area, it brings up the climate control. So it's it good, bad? I haven't quite decided yet. So the seat heater control is not directly here, as you can see. Tapping it either get you into the climate control, or the other way is to use the climate button. And so either way gets you into climate control, and this is where you actually do most of the settings of the climate control. Before that, let's get back out. There is a shortcut to turn on or toggle the seat warmer, and that is to double tap on, or two fingers tap on this area. So if you do, so 3 dots, 2, 1, and off. Doesn't work very well for me all the time. So just to recap, for the direct knob or switch control, use this area to go high or lower the temperature. Double tap to toggle between the 4 modes of seat warmer. But the best way to do direct control of the temperature system really is to either use the climate button or just touch this area. Once you're in here, you can then toggle the seat warmer. Let's switch it back off. Change the temperature directly. And if you're in the smart climate control, you can just use these to set the system to quick cooling is one I use the most in the summertime, or clear view is what I use to get rid of condensation. You look at it, you may ask, hey, how about steering wheel warmer? There is such a thing, and there are 2 ways to do it. One way is you get to the classic climber. Now this button appears, and again, it's a toggle, right, to turn on different levels of heat for the steering wheel. Then you say, well, in the smart climate, why do they leave that out? I would prefer them to leave it in, but I do understand why. The reason is there is a warm hands control here. So if you press smart climate warm hands, it actually will switch on the steering wheel warmer and also blow warm air towards the steering wheel. Just to confirm, if I go back to classic, you'll see that this is on. And when you're done with this, just tap it again and it will switch it off. Now I prefer direct control, but that's just me. Sometimes I don't like the hot air blowing into the steering wheel, which then into my face. So recap, again, direct buttons control, or use the climbers button by just pressing this one, or pressing this area. And then you can set the temperature, seats. If you use classic, directly control over the steering wheel warmer. If not, just use one of these to set what you need to do. Now let's move on to the scheduled function. So besides immediate control, what you can also do is to set some departure times if you have a regular driving schedule, and then have the car preheated or pre-cooled to that temperature and settings at those times. So it is under the auxiliary climate control tile right at the bottom. And even this is confusing. There are actually two parts to this. There is the temperature part. So you can say my targeted temperature for automation is 69. However, there's an additional button down here. And maybe this it's only available depending on trim level. What it can do is you can actually pick the seat that you also want to warm up, and then you can also say start the defogger. Okay, so have these two things set. If you go back to here, you'll see the seat is also set up. So I guess you could actually, if you have a passenger, you can also set the passenger. And I just tried this, and I guess there are no rear seat heater. But single driver, steering wheel side, automatically set up to be warm if it needs to be, and temperature to this. Then what you do secondly is to set the departure time. So departure, it's basically a scheduling screen. I have it already set to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 7 a.m. and Saturday at 9. Right, you can just set the dial, pick the date. I can enable these. So now if we go back to auxiliary climate control, it will say, hey, the next scheduled time is 7 a.m. tomorrow. And when that time comes, the car will heat to this temperature. So again, multi-parts. Set the temperature. If you have this option, pick the seat and defogger if you want to. Pre-program a schedule and then enable it. So if you do all those things, the car will, based on this departure schedule, preheat or pre-cool your car for you. Finally, under settings, you can actually have this enabled as well, so that when you unlock the car, the settings, again, 69 degrees, seats will automatically come on, right? So the idea is you preset your personal preference as far as climate in the car, and you can either have that come on by schedule and or have it come on when you unlock the car. I hope that makes sense. So it is, as I say, multiple steps, but once you get used to it, it does work. So these are the schedule automated features.